episode. But here's what we decided to do. We started something called Pay Grace Forward. I know some of you have heard of this and some of you probably haven't. But it was built on what Randy said. Like, rather than tackling the legislative issues, rather than we're not legislators, we're a church. Let the legislators legislate. Rather than tackling, the industry regulations, and we're not bank regulators, we're a church. What can we do? Let's help individuals. And so we started this ministry called Pay Grace Forward that is now a fully independent 501c3. So it started as a ministry of Murray Hills Church. It's just spun off. It's an independent ministry. It's got its own independent board of directors. I think I'm the only member of the board of directors that's still a part of that's on Murray Hills Church, part of Murray Hills Church. So it's all these different churches involved. Greg Martin is our chairman of the board, and what this group does is combines mentoring with low interest loans. So what we do is provide financial coaching with a low-interest loan. So let's say you're caught in a payday trap and you owe a bunch of money to a title loan place or something. Say you owe $2,000 to a title loan place, and you come to Pay Grace Forward and say, I need some help. I'm drowning here. And they say, okay, here's an application. Through the application, if you're approved for the program, then through the application, they're going to say, okay, we're going to put you with a mentor. We're going to put you with a financial coach that's going to sit down with you over a period of 6 or 7 weeks, and we're going to look at your budget, we're going to look at your spending, we're going to look at the income, we're going to look at the bills, we're going to look at the terms of the notes you got and all this kind of stuff, and we're just going to do our homework together. And over that 6 or 7 week period, that person's doing some financial coaching, financial mentoring. They're volunteers from churches that do this. And then after that period of time, if it looks like, I'm willing to do the work, I'm willing to do what I need, I've got a budget in place, I've got a plan in place, I'm ready, I know I can do this. After a period of time, they then recommend you to the Pay Grace Forward Advisory Council that I think they should qualify for a loan. And then you can get a loan through a traditional bank that will pay off the note to the payday lender, and now you got a loan through a traditional bank at a regular interest rate that's payable over 16 to 18 months rather than a 400% interest loan at a payday lender that's payable in 2 weeks. So we do that through First Farmers. That's our partner bank right there. So nobody's borrowing any money from churches. They're borrowing money from First Farmers. So the way it works is they would go, and the ministry essentially co-signs the note and says, listen, we've been meeting with this person, we've been working with this person, and we believe they're good for the note. So we're willing to put up the collateral for the note so that they can pay off this payday lender. One of the last people we helped went from $800 a month in payments to $150 a month in payments. You want to talk about a life change? I mean, a life change. We've had couples, we helped a couple that was engaged to be married, and they got out of debt before the date of the marriage and totally changed their life. We've had people that have gone through this program that are now contributing to the program because they got back on their feet and they started paying off, they paid off the note. So the idea is to one person at a time, and to Pay Grace Forward, here's where that name comes from. If you borrow from us, if First Farmers giving me a note, I couldn't afford to do it. This ministry helped me do it by co-signing the note. Once I pay my note off, so I got grace. I received grace. I was given grace because I got something that I couldn't afford. Once I pay my note off, that money is then freed up, and it gets to go help the next person, and go help the next person, and go help the next person. So what we're trying to do is combat the debt cycle with a grace cycle. Like, unlike benevolence fund of churches where you just give it and it disappears, when you give to Pay Grace Forward, that money, in theory, goes on and helps the next person, and the next person, and the next person, and the next person. It just creates this cycle of grace. And I don't even have time to explain the whole thing. It's a really creative thing to me, and it's a cool thing that's happening. And you've got an opportunity today, if I stop talking, to go learn about it. From our executive directors here, Lori Cole's sitting, we wave real quick. Lori Cole is our new executive director of Pay Grace Forward. And you can applaud for her. And she's going to be in the surf shop, which is the room down here in the children's ministry, right after this service is over, talking a little bit more about how the ministry works, because I know the analytical among us got questions, and the non-analytical are like, okay, I got it. But the analytical are like, well, what about this? What about this? She's going to be there if you want to go learn some more information about this. If you're interested in being a mentor, that's what we really need. is in the ministry, because the education is a huge, huge part of it. It's bigger than the note. You know the coolest thing? Most of the people who start the program end up not needing the loan. They end up not needing the loan because over that 6 or 7 weeks, they're like, I can do this. I can make this work. They just needed a coach to kind of help them coach through this, and so they end up not getting the loan, and we consider that a success if somebody doesn't need the loan. So